Yeah, he got on the black and mostly on the red, but this can all be repaired pretty easily. It's just what happens with babies. His contribution. Almost done with these. I just need to add stars. I'm gonna see if I can collect some sand with my family because I don't have purple. This hogback formation here is a good spot to collect sand because you have all different types of minerals and soil types up there, just from different pressures, whatever the parent rock was or parent mineral, depending on the pressure and depth and length of time that it was under compression, it changes into different types of sandstones and different colors. Over there is a really nice block of purple. I might have to go all the way over there, but I'm hoping I can just go through here because you see a lot of streaks up there. And over here is another spot. Kind of sketchy for me now because, well, I recently suffered an injury, but these are the badlands out here. This is where raptors used to roam.
Hey, what did I just say?
I actually think there was some fossils discovered in this direction. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in this side Badlands. I think that raptor was called the Daemonosaurus. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. A lot of people say that coal comes from dinosaur poop. I'm pretty sure a lot of the organic material that was alive during the time of the dinosaurs. But when a formation like this, when you have tectonic plates moving back and forth, side to side, whatever, and one ends up shooting up like this, it's because two of them are colliding, and the one that's a more aggressive slope, because this is the part that's coming out of the ground, it's bringing up lots of good stuff for sand painting. Old Navajo dwellings, that's where we're going to go check out right now. There's a lot of cool colors and stones here. Sandstone, petrified wood, and looks like a smaller crystal. Yeah, there's about 14 different colors right here that blend pretty good. Here we got some old ruins, two of them, and it looks like a hogan intact over there, and maybe a sheep pen. Now, one of the bonus of living in an area like this, a rockier area, is you're able to build with the stones. A lot of places like this will have ruins up here that aren't Anasazi ruins, but like little makeshift sheep pens or a place to pin up your cows. Ooh, this is a nice maroon purple. That's what I'm looking for. So it being here, there's got to be some up there, which means I won't have to go all the way to the other side. So these ruins, Navajos don't do a lot of ruin exploration. The reason being is that in our culture, when somebody passes, a lot of the times they'll be put in laid to rest, in a home, like maybe these two here, and it'll be sealed up, or they'll collapse it in, and that's just how somebody was buried. They're buried on their land, their belongings, in their home, and it becomes like a death house. But that's how we consider, Anasazi ruins, because in Anasazi ruins they mummified themselves. And if you notice here, there's some pots. Now, this is why, people like Navajos are very superstitious. Well, there's a reason for a lot of them. If you find pottery or even just cooking utensils out in the desert, a lot of people would think, oh, nice, that's a nice survival tool. But some of these pots and pans are placed into these homes for the dead, And a good indication that they are is if they have holes in them. And it's kind of makes it like a spirit bowl. So if you ever find cast iron skillet with a hole or a bullet hole through it, I mean somebody probably did that intentionally for a loved one. Another thing is when you have these guys here, when you come across a ruin like this, you can step over it. And the reason for that is, you know, energies such as like death and sadness and all that, they'll follow you. You know, cactus is a sacred plant. It's a part of the shooting way ceremonies. It's kind of a respected plant even to ghosts or Cheaties and things like that. Not saying necessarily that the people in the ruins were Cheaties. You know, you just don't want to carry that grief with you. So it's always good to step over cactuses like that. Could be wrong. This could just be someone's sheep camp dwelling that is no longer used, but you know, why take that chance and walk into a dead person's house, their burial. So it looks like this is the entrance. And with Navajo dwellings, a good indicator of when certain buildings were erected is the direction of the door. So right now, it being almost spring towards the end of winter, you see where the sun is at. So I believe true south is in this direction here. True north would be in this direction. So since that one being more northward, that means the sun was rising from here when this hogan was built. And another thing on those superstitious ways, this is a home, and this is a home of ants. And the funny thing is they also have the same practice in building their dwellings. They'll place the doorway always to the east and where the sun was rising at the time it was built. So right now this one also looks abandoned. And these stones here are also respected in the same way that we would with someone's home. You know, you don't just think, oh hey, I could make a nice rattle with these little pebbles. They would sound nice in a gourd, and then scoop them up. There's actually ceremonies that are for that. You know, people disrespect the homes of ants. A lot of people just don't know about those things, and there's ant way ceremonies. And they're actually fairly common because people do mistreat ants a lot. And a lot of it is just not growing up with the teachings of why they're sacred. If you see pottery or a cool arrowhead or even like precious gems or turquoise in an anthill, you know, that's theirs and you shouldn't steal from them. And over there's the other hogan. Would have been nice to go to it, but it's pretty windy and the sun is, you know, I think I got an hour and a half left of light. I'm with my family, but I didn't bring my sons out here just because, you know, if these are death houses, it's not a place you want to bring children. You know, with kids, you want them in very positive environments. You want them growing up in positive environments where there's a lot of growth and life, not death. A lot of kids going to Pueblo, Pintada, Mesa Verde. I'm sure there's a lot more kids going out to those places now, Navajo kids, but traditionally, you know, those Puebloan peoples were buried in those homes and those castles, and because of that, you know, we just respected it like that. We didn't go in there. They're publicly accessible. You can go in and see, which is pretty cool. I mean, I've watched those videos and I get to see what it looks like in there without actually going in there. Oh, I picked some of these up. In the Navajo stories, there's a little race of like hobbit-like people that live up in these areas. Some people say they'll roll rocks down onto you, boulders. I did hear a couple of stories near, I believe it's called Sedakan in Navajo, and you know, people say that there's little people that can throw fireballs, little firebending hobbits. So right here, this white, that's gypsum. Yeah, gypsum makes a really nice white for sand painting. There's a certain process you have to do to make it not disappear, because it is translucent when it's wet. And yellows like this make me want to get a Geiger counter, just because it could just be like an oxidized metal that made this color, but I always get kind of nervous wondering if I'm picking up uranium ore. Because it's not what I'm looking for today, but you know, in these areas, the sandy areas under these big rocks right there, sometimes you can find some crystals there. It's really nice to do this in the winter. The reason being is rattlesnakes, scorpions, giant centipedes, just less critters to disturb. This here is just a big old aggregate. So in the Navajo stories, this stuff here is the blood of giants, the Nayit, the physical ones, and this is their blood that came off of them when they were slain and it turned to stone. Well, I can't tell if this camera will pick up the deep purples that I'm seeing in person. It doesn't look so on the screen, but some really beautiful colors here. There's like a darker purple here. This is a little purple splotch. You got some maroon in there, and then it's just reddish and pink everywhere else. This sandstone here, I don't know if you can tell, but it comes apart pretty easily, so I can grind these down even finer at home. And there's more Mormon tea here. It's really good. A lot of it's pretty well hidden until you scratch the surface and you see the vibrant colors underneath. Did get some of this juicy red here. Looks like there's another vein there of the red there, and the orange. Seems like they go parallel here. A lot of beautiful vibrant red in here. I don't have enough containers for. I hope I find some purple. Yeah, sometimes you just poke at the surface and you'll see the color underneath. You can get lucky and hit a purple vein. So it takes a little digging, but there's some purple sandstone in here. And these can be crushed up. See how it just disintegrates? Yeah, this would be really nice to paint with. I got my load. Just have to make my way down without injuring myself. So this is our loot. We have this very, very deep red. I think it's a chi. It'll stain your fingers. And these here you can't really tell right now, but this is purple. More purple in here. My main objective for today was purple, and everything else was a side quest. It's very thick. It'll grind down fairly easily. More purples in here. Kind of pink, so it's kind of separated. Actually, I think this was the pinker one here. More pink and more purple. And this here looks like selenite, and this is you see how it's shiny? So the Navajo word for glass is tason, meaning stone star. And you can kind of see a glint here. You know, a long time ago there used to be bigger chunks of this, huge ones that you could actually stick when you're building a hogan out of stone. Put these in different places and you'll have natural lighting.
There's some difficulties in going overland in the dark, really deep. Oh shoot, gorgeous. And we just ran over a rock. I guess not. Yeah, we clonked this here. These rocks are so pretty. This looks like flesh. The wound of a giant monster. That is so cool. It's glass. It actually feels like when lightning strikes the ground, it boils the sand into glass, and it feels just like that. This is how I make my sand paintings. You see how right there's orange, and it goes to yellow, and then white and blue. In the evening, you have these warmer hues, whereas in the morning you'll only see kind of like that, where it's like blue. Happy New Day, just here. We have some chi right here. In here we have some purple, and it already worked itself into a sand. I won't have to work too hard on that. And then we have some sandstones. It's more of a red. So this here is what I'm going to use. Breaking it apart. It's nice because this bowl kind of helps it from flying out, but I do use newspaper underneath everything to make sure I don't lose any sand. They also have this here. This is an old grinding stone that my dad had. We usually grind a lot of white on here. You can kind of see that there. And these are just standard river rocks. They're very hard, and I get these from our farm. And then right here is the PPE, just the goggles and face masks. This really helps. This one helps too, because every now and then you'll get some sand or a little piece of rock in your eye. And then Great Value, the brand of sand sifters. No kidding. And then finally I have this here. It's just a grinder. It's really good for a cornmeal. I have a separate one for that. It's a lot quicker than a grinding stone, but this one's just for finer sand. Thank you. So as I'm filling this purple here, you'll kind of notice that the darker one's a little more true purple, and you got a lighter purple. It'll all mix to make a really nice purple that I want. I noticed in here that there was purple and then it's really dark. So I thought maybe the pigments were starting to separate and the darker color was finding its way to the bottom, but no, I think my son had actually he poured water in here somehow. That's just the nature of having children. You know, they throw little monkey wrenches around. That's why, you know, in Navajo teachings, when you mature to have children, a part of maturity is patience and understanding, and knowing that your child is making mistakes and you had a lifetime of mistakes to make as well. So I don't know how usable this is going to be right here. This was some of the darkest purple I had, but you can notice just how dark that is. That's how dark it'll be when I put it on the sand painting, and that's what I mean by like colors change, you know, depending on how I use them. I really like this purple though. I love how it looks making up corn and, you know, different deities, the skirts. Yeah, purple's a very nice color. It makes a very nice background. I'm going to try and make some pink. I separated some by the color that I think is going to make some nice pink, because this is more reddish than the purple. I think I'll get another I'll probably set this out indoors to dry and then re-grind it down. Hopefully it comes back to that purple or as close to it as I can get. And there's this one here, and I'm thinking of actually rinsing this so that you can see that a lot of this is just dirt. So I rinsed it off here. You'll notice here that there's a layer of calcite that builds up on it, and then you got some right here. Calcite is usually picked up by water. Right where I found this particular vein of this here, it was exposed because water was slicing through the area that this was. When the water picks up that calcite, it also flows down into where there used to be trees. And you know how earlier in the video I found petrified wood, and petrified wood forms because you know that calcite seeps into the wood as it's underground, and then all the wood around it basically erodes. There's no more carbon there, and then it's just the leftover calcite that forms in the structure that wood was left over, which is really cool. And try and get as much as of this calcite off as I can. It does form a pretty nice white, but it also really lightens whatever color that it comes into contact with. Just like, you know, if you're mixing oil paint and you mix some white with some red, makes it a little more pink or orange. Different. Yeah, it's just, I like to have a little more finer, vibrant color. And then if I need something lighter, I'm able to mix it on the spot as I'm sand painting. But the cool thing about this whole process and sand painting is that no two sand paintings are exactly alike for this reason. The exact composition of the sands and the different tones that I put into my artwork, each one is unique, each one's special, and it's kind of created on the spot. Even if the design of the sand painting has been done before, you know, I really like it. To me, it's very, very cool. It's one of the coolest things in the world. So yeah, I'm gonna break this down now and see what color I can get. You know, a river rock that I found on my farm. It just so happens to be in the perfect shape, you know. Ooh, this here is what I really, really want. That really nice purple. Now I'm going to start bagging the nice colors that I want, so I can mix it for specific colors, and just trying to keep them more into like the primary colors and keep them together as much as possible, because again, mixing can happen later down the road. So you have that chi here. So that red chi is also a sacred type of sand that we use in ceremonies. It's a greenish yellow, almost a lime green. Can maybe save that for something specific in the future, like maybe a tassel, a flower, or just a part of a sunset. The finer the grain, the harder the parent stone, and the harder it is to grind this down. In fact, you know, with the tightly compact granules such as like turquoise, lapis, with those, you know, when I first bash them down, like with this one, I would probably even use 2 river rocks just because they're a little harder, and maybe even using a hammer. But that would be done inside another container, like either a plastic container or to have like a cloth covering the whole process. That way these don't fly out too far. With this, even though it was quite a bit of smacking to get it busted down, this was relatively easy compared to a lot of other stones, and hopefully I'll be able to show you those in the future. Then I'll just add this in here. So I got purple, pink, red. Oh, let me make the red now. Yeah, this stuff is used to dye moccasins, the leather. I hear from my father that his Nelly used to put this on him when he was out sheep herding and mix it with a little pinon pitch to prevent sunburns and the breakout of acne, because that's what he was getting. So I grinded down this chi. It's a super fine red powder. It's used in ceremonies as a protectant to ward off evil. It's also used for menstrual cramps to help control that pain and the cramping. Another thing is it's used as a dye, a pigment. And this is a good example. This is my son's moccasin. And this was just rubbed into the leather. So you can re-dye your moccasin like this. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked today's video and want to prevent the giants from coming back, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. See you at the next one.